System plays are a dime a dozen. You're going to hear zillions of handicappers talk about this system will make you millions, that system will make you millions. But here's one which I stumbled across about 13, 14 years ago that actually delivers winners. If you can pick straight up winners, it cashes over the first 12 to 14 weeks of the season at an almost 85% clip. Again, if you can pick straight up winners. And occasionally, it pays to bet some underdogs on the money line, too. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you your Kansas City Philadelphia Super Bowl rematch free pick today and more for this Sunday video report. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com. And yes, this is going to be your Sunday video report, and I'm on a roll here with the plays I'm giving away for free. Hit 2 out of 3 on Saturday, cashing it with LSU, cashing it with Memphis. Unfortunately, Pitt did not get them close in the backyard brawl, failed to get there against West Virginia. But still, 64 and 33 roll with the plays that I'm giving away for free. And yes, today, among the plays I'm going to talk about, it's going to be the Chiefs-Eagles rematch. Also going to take a look at the game between the Lions and Bears, among others. Those are coming up in just a moment. In terms of my best bet yesterday, well, it was kind of easy. Not as easy as Oregon winning by 147 points the prior week. But, hey, you can't always have 60-some point winners. But I did give you a 38-0 shutout with a 9.5-point road dog as my 15 best bet yesterday with East Carolina getting the job done at Coastal Carolina. Now, unfortunately, Friday I released also a 2-team teaser, and I was within 11 seconds of cashing that play in. The first half of that teaser, the first leg was LSU. The second leg was Notre Dame. And if you watched the Notre Dame Texas A&M game last night, oh, it came so damn close to cashing in. But unfortunately, Texas A&M, fourth down, no time there on the final play, getting the touchdown pass and getting the outright win. And of course, I had Notre Dame in the second leg of that teaser, getting a half point, and they lose by a point. And sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. But listen, it is not going to stop me today from coming out with a top-rated 15-dime winner, number 28 out of 42, just as strong as East Carolina yesterday, just as strong as the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night. And it is going to be my afternoon matinee 2-touchdown mismatch winner. It goes among the 9 games kicking off at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And just like East Carolina yesterday, just like the Packers on Thursday night, it's the half-price play of the day over at DeMarcoSports.com. As I continue to show you that you don't have to spend big money to make big money. I've always adhered to that principle since I created these sites some 24 years ago. And FYI, you see it at the bottom of the screen. If you've never been a customer before over at DeMarcoSports.com, if you'd like to get my play and all the plays of all the handicappers for free today, you can do so, yes, for free using the 2-day free all-access pass. You get all the plays, all the handicappers today and any other day you want them, your choice. Yes, your choice. Today, for example, the all-access pass costs $109. You get it for free. No strings attached. Yeah, I know it seems such a strange concept, right? To get everything for free. But again, you get it over at DeMarcoSports.com. If you have any questions, you can always contact customer service. Now, let me talk about what I have mentioned many, many times over the years. About 13, 14, 15 years ago, I started noticing that straight up winners, generally the first 12 to 14 weeks of the season, if you could pick the straight up winners, they're like money in the bank covering the spread. Now, it's not that easy. If you or I could pick the straight up winners of every single game, you wouldn't be watching these video reports. I wouldn't be doing these video reports. We'd all be multimillionaires. But it is just an amazing little stat. I only do it through the first 17 weeks of the season. The last week is skewed because so many teams treat it like an exhibition campaign and they rest their starters or the games are simply meaningless. So, for example, last year, and if you go over to DeMarcoSports.com and look at the top of the page in the header and look at free picks, hit the drop-down menu, you'll see I have both last year's results, week by week, and I'm keeping tabulation for this week's results as this year's results on a weekly basis as well. So last year, through the 17 weeks of the season, the straight up winners produced at an 83.7% clip. And that's about the norm. It goes anywhere from about 82 to 88% over the past 13, 14 years. Yeah, you name me any other system that's really legit that ever produces those type of winners. And in week number one, including the Packers on Thursday night, so far the straight up winners have covered 13 out of 17 games. Now, a lot of guys, I've talked to it about this to you in the past, a lot of guys will just tell you, oh, you got to bet the dogs, you got to bet the dogs. Well, I will say, generally speaking, week number two, dogs do bark more frequently than they do in week number one. Week number three, just taking a quick look ahead, Mets and Mets. Sometimes the dogs do have an advantage. Sometimes it's a break-even thing. But generally speaking, favorites are the way to go in week number one. Dogs come in generally a little stronger in week number two. But overall, in the course of the season, if you go again and check it out over at DeMarcosports.com, you'll see last year the favorites, the first 17 weeks of the season, were 140, 111, and 3 against the spread. But of those 111 dogs that covered, 69 of them won outright. And something I want to tell you and talk about is that if there is a dog that you particularly love, and the take back is somewhere, I want to talk about, somewhere, let's say 140 or more, and you think that dog is going to win outright, again, about 30 to 35% of the time, the dog is going to win outright. It would be worth, from a financial standpoint, to bet that dog a smaller wager on the money line. Now, I'm a proponent of playing one play a day, but I'm not talking about taking an awful team. Let's use the Patriots or the Titans a year ago. I'm not talking about taking them at plus 300 on the money line or plus 425. I'm talking about taking a solid dog that you think has a chance to win the game outright, getting them at plus $1.30, plus $1.40, let's say, or more, and playing them as a smaller wager, secondary wager on the money line, because if you look at the numbers, you will see, again, that the dogs win outright about 30 to 35% of the time. Again, last year, 111 dogs covered weeks 1 through 17. 69 of those 111 dogs won outright. Just something to keep in your mind looking forward. So with that all being said, let's get to your complimentary play, and I'm going to get to the big game first. Let's not delay it any further, and let's talk about the game between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Listen, I was the winningest handicapper at the site last year in college and pro football, and I capped the season by coming out with a top-rated 15-dime best bet on Ohio State. I was one of the only two handicappers to have the Buckeyes in the national championship game, and then I came right back with a 15-dime best bet on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And, the Eagles have been my hometown team. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, left town, came back, but I never gave up my allegiance even today to the Eagles. So it's always tough for me to analyze the Eagles game because you have to bet with your head and not with your heart. That's number one when it comes to gambling and handicapping. But I'll tell you what, I still have to go with the Eagles. Are they as good as they were a year ago? No. Because free agency makes you tear down your team. You just can't afford to bring back the same team year in, year out. And it definitely hurt them in the secondary and definitely along the front line. And you saw after Jalen Carter, of course, was ejected before the opening kickoff in the Dallas game, how they got absolutely no pass rush, 0 sacks against Dak Prescott. Now, if Carter's in there, obviously they're going to play a little better. But that secondary, oh my God, it was pathetic. The corners, we knew were going to be weak, and they were. But are the Chiefs any better than they were a year ago? No, they're just a year older. That's the difference. Travis Kelce is past his prime, clearly. He was slipping last year, and he slipped even further. The wide receiver room, how many injuries can they endure? Rice is out. Worthing has the shoulder injury, did practice on Thursday, heavily padded and taped shoulder. Supposedly had a dislocated shoulder, suffered in last week's opener in Brazil against the Chargers. He's doubtful, I believe, today. I mean, so outside Hollywood Brown, who had the 10 catches against the Chargers, what do they have? Juju Smith-Schuster? I mean, there's not a lot there. And here's an interesting stat that I happened to come across today when you talk about Patrick Mahomes, still one of the finest quarterbacks in the NFL, right? But since the start of the 2023 season, of the 33 quarterbacks who have thrown at least 500 passes since the start of that season, he is 24th in yards per attempt, 25th in yards per completion, 20th in passer rating, because he doesn't have the support personnel that he once had. And really, how has his receiver room been since Tyreek Hill was dealt to Miami a few years back? That's the bottom line. And because Kelsey has slipped so dramatically. So I don't think they have the offensive firepower to match up with Philadelphia. And if you look back at the Super Bowl, really, who was the offensive star for the Eagles? It was Jalen Hurts, who did just about everything, passing and throwing the ball. It wasn't Saquon Barkley, who had only 57 yards on 25 carries, but I think you're going to see Barkley get more run today, literally and figuratively. I also think an advantage for the Eagles today is that they had the Thursday night game on their home field. Sure, they're on the road today, but you have the Chiefs who had to go to Brazil, Friday night game, fly back on Saturday, right? And prep for this game. I think they're in a much tougher spot in terms of prep time for this game. So the Eagles at -1.5. I realize that everybody says, hey, the Chiefs are going to be ready to go. It's a Super Bowl rematch, but I like the Eagles, and they are my top play for today, FYI. By the way, if you'd like to never miss another video, just hit the little subscribe button down there in the corner, and that way you'll always be alerted. It's the easiest way to find out when I'll have a video. I will most likely be back here on Monday because, of course, we have the 2 Monday night games to talk about at that time, as we've got the Chargers visiting the Raiders and Houston hosting Tampa Bay. Again, just subscribe down there in the lower corner. Now, on the early card, I find an interesting game is going to be the Rams and Tennessee. Sure, Tennessee got the cover last Sunday against Denver. It's only because Bo Nix was awful and Sean Payton, I don't know what the hell he was doing, eschewing the field goal possibility there on 4th down late in the game and instead letting Nix throw an incomplete pass when he could have simply kicked the field goal to get us all the cover. But Tennessee was just absolutely awful in that game. 133 total yards, 6 sacks allowed of Cam Ward, 2 for 14 on 3rd down in that 20-12 loss, which should have been probably a 30-12 loss easily. I don't see them getting much better here playing at home just because the Rams are coming to town. Listen, the Rams held Houston 2 for 9 on 3rd down, forced 2 turnovers, held the Texans to 265 yards, and that's with C.J. Stroud and a much more mature offense playing for the Texans than what Cam Ward is going to be playing with in Nashville here today. The Rams have won 10 straight games, laying 3 points or more, 7-3 against the spread in that period. I love the way that Matthew Stafford, although he, was bothered throughout training camp with various injuries, 21 for 29, 245 yards, 1 touchdown. I think it's a pretty cheap price to go with the Rams. If this line moves up to 6 or anywhere up to 7.5, then I'm buying down. But right now, as I do this video report at 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time at 5.5, I'm good with that price, and I like the Rams in this spot. Another game that I like today is also on the early card, and that would be the Lions, who I expected to have regression this year, and they certainly did in week number 1. Or, as we saw with the Packers, their defense is for real, and that's why I backed them on Thursday night. But, I look at the Lions here today, and I look at how the Bears played in that Monday night game. A Bears team that on their opening drive looked like gangbusters, and thereafter, they just couldn't do anything offensively. And yes, they've got Ben Johnson, the former Lions offensive coordinator, running the show, but boy, that offense needs some help. I mean, Caleb Williams completed more passes at people's feet or over their heads than he did to his receivers in that game against the Vikings, sacked 5 times, and the defense, which showed leaky signs throughout the preseason, you saw how they choked and faded in the 4th quarter, allowing the Vikings to score 21 unanswered points. You saw J.J. McCarthy turned into Bart Starr, reincarnated in the fourth quarter. Bart Starr, where did I come up with that? Of all the quarterbacks I could have named, I don't know. But anyway, hell, J.J. McCarthy, 7 for 12, 56 yards, 1 interception through the first 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, 6 for 8, 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just a total defensive collapse for that Chicago defense. Now, Detroit, the run game didn't produce at Green Bay. Gibbs and Montgomery only had 20 carries for 44 yards. I think they will get it going here today. They had 3 red zone trips, only came away with 6 points. The defense had 0 sacks of Jordan Love. Again, the Bears, I think Williams was sacked 47 or 49 times a year ago, 5 times in the season opener. And Detroit, the last 10 games in the regular season, the Lions have lost. They are 10-0 straight up and against the spread in the next game afterwards. 6.5-point favorite, some places 7 again. I'm buying the half point there. So rating today's plays, number 1, I told you already, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Number 2, I like the Rams. And number 3, I'm going to go with the Lions. And that'll do it for today, guys. I wish you well and talk to you again soon. Good luck, everybody.